We're ready in the commentary box, the drivers are ready as well, and here is how the grid will line up for the final time in 2024. 12 teams ready to take to the field, and it's Honda on pole position. Shota Nematane, the man who will lead their chance at the start. Soya Suzuki on the front row of the grid as well. Then Team Porsche with Benjamin Hengsay for company on the second row, and Lexus with Kanata Kawakami alongside. Adriano Carazza will take along for Toyota later on, with Yamanaka starting this race. Subaru with Helena Stroza also at the wheel. Genesis line up 7th with Dean Helt starting this charge for them. Jun Hashima for Ferrari lines up P8. 9th position, Yusuke Goto for Chevrolet. 10th is Mercedes-AMG with Guy Barbara starting their charge. Then it's Audi and Daniel Penko, the Spaniards. And Mazda completing the 12-driver strong field with Robbie Heck. Now, the only dry compound of tyre that the teams have are the medium compound. And as the track is dry, they are all starting on the mediums here, Jimmy. Now, it's a rolling start, so we shouldn't expect any dramas down towards the first corner. But up the rise through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, there's a good chance of some overtakes.
It's dark and foreboding here at Spa at the moment. You can see the grey skies. I mean, I think we know what's coming at some point, but when do our drivers, what do you do about strategy? All starting on mediums for now. Honda leading the way here at Spa for the grand final. Will they still be there come the end of the race?
Well, who is going to be crowned as the Manufacturers' Cup champion of the 2024 season? We're about to find out in 20 laps as the grand final here in Amsterdam gets underway. Honda leading the field across the timeline. We are ready to go racing for one more time this season and crown our world champions here at Spa. Honda lead the field down towards the first corner, and already a flash of rain looks like it's beginning to start in these early stages. BMW, Porsche, Lexus leading them down towards the first turn. Out of La Source, up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, and on the run to the Camel Straight and into Les Combes is where we'll see the slipstream coming into effect. And of course, for Nematane, the man who's leading the charge, he does not have that hole being punched in the air in front of him, so he may be under a bit of pressure in the early stages. You can already see a little bit of water on the racing line on the circuit, so let's see how this one works out. Here come BMW against Honda. Up the Camel Straight we go into Les Combes, and Suzuki takes over the lead in the early stages at the front.
Yeah, I mean, easy there. Porsche also looking at the inside. Big lunge there by Team Porsche, knocking Honda off, returning the favour. Team Honda, big slap there. I think that's Nematane at the wheel there of that Honda. I mean, all's fair in love and war, but I'm not sure the stewards will agree with that one.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what you've got to remember in this race. You can't win it on the first lap, but you can certainly lose it. Toyota getting into the back of Porsche there, and also in turn pushing Honda a little bit wide. It's aggressive, it's feisty. Honda now side by side with Toyota through X as well. Toyota with no room. Genesis trying to find their way through. They've got momentum. This is scrappy here, lads, in the opening lap of this one. Genesis now side by side with Toyota down through Pouon. 2x2 through there is a little bit brave. Toyota managed to get the better of Genesis, or do they? Because they still run side by side on the exit. That's going to shuffle them out and allow Subaru to come back through and try and challenge them for position, and do so. So Toyota, the big losers on the opening lap, they've lost 2 places from where they started.
Yeah, massive start there, but Dean Helt in the Genesis car really getting his elbows out early doors. I mean, Dean's definitely that sort of driver. He'll make the move if it needs to, but then understeering through the first step, though, that allows Team Subaru to try and get into Stroza in the car for them at the moment. But that's a small gap now opening up between first, second, third and fourth, and that second pack in fifth backwards. But at the front, Team BMW have just bolted away at the moment. Suzuki at the wheel, we know how quick he is in that BMW, just showing it there, taking the place early, and he's just cleared off.
So Honda, not a particularly brilliant start to their race. Let's have a look at what happened here with this overtake then down. A brilliant start to their race. Let's have a look at what happened here with this overtake then down into Les Combes. On the outside here at BMW, now Honda, keep an eye out for Porsche behind because they're going to come through stage right. Up the inside they go. Pushes Honda a little bit wide. They go off to the runoff, returning the favour. Porsche get muscled out there as well. And like candy from a baby, Lexus go through and up into second as well.
I think the move from Porsche is a little bit optimistic. I mean, you've got to go for it, of course, but then that rejoin from the Honda, I don't know if it's because they just hit a bit of AstroTurf and the car didn't grip, but it looked like it just slid sideways onto the back of the course and collecting Porsche on the way through. So, I mean, sometimes I think the stewards just go, well, listen, you're as bad as each other, deal with it, and then no further action. But I've not even seen them investigating yet, so...
No, it seems like it's indeed a racing incident because, as you say, there's been nothing flashing up on our timing screens. Up we go in towards Les Combes. And Porsche sitting there in third place and not close enough to mount a challenge to Lexus at the moment. Benjamin Enkse behind the wheel of that car, the Hungarian driver who was made an emphatic debut earlier on this year. If you remember back to World Series 2 in Prague, challenged for the victory right up until the final corner. And I dare say if that track had been a couple of hundred metres longer, he would have been on the top 7 of the... It all came down to tyres in mixed conditions. So let's see whether they can repeat that feat here tonight. Genesis versus Subaru, Ferrari and also Chevrolet. Four abreast. Look at this. How do you throw the over needle? Ferrari are going to outbrake themselves and go straight off into the Ardennes. Chevrolet left to pick up the pieces there well, and somehow Genesis and Subaru managed to emerge without any problems as Mazda picked up a 1 second penalty.
I love that Ferrari there, where they were heroes for approximately a second. And then just completely off they go. But Nabatani in the Honda there, just about clinging on inside that top 4 at the moment to the back of Porsche. BMW is still there with Suzuki, I think gradually, very slowly putting away from the cars behind. Just seems to have that little bit more speed in these early stages. But it's a team game. They're only on lap 2 of 20, and each team still has 2 drivers yet to go, so it's far from over, but BMW, your early leaders.
So Subaru there in the wheel tracks of Genesis. I mean, that's good for them because it'll help them with their straight line speed deficit that they've been struggling with as Mazda just drops down after that penalty to last position in this one. Angel Stroza behind the wheel of that Subaru. A Porsche man for many years. If you remember back to the World Tour, as it was named there, back in 2019, he burst onto the scene by taking victory for Team Porsche at the World Tour event in Tokyo. And we'll be keen to see what is going to happen here for the team of Subaru, sitting in 6th position at the moment. So BMW lead then 1.7 seconds back are Team Lexus at the moment. Toyota there in 7th place as well, and Mercedes-AMG not too far adrift there either. It's all pretty calm as it stands for now between these drivers, and we'll be keen to see what's going to happen and how this is going to work out. So up the rise we go on the Camel Straight. You can see Subaru there with Toyota in front at the moment. In towards Les Combes we go. All close up in front there as well between Genesis and Honda. That's an exchange for position, and Honda being muscled to the outside here, and Toyota and Subaru ready to take profit as Honda are left down in the doldrums, going through into the right-hander of turn 7. Subaru are going to get shuffled onto the curb on the outside here, down in towards turn 8. We're going to go on the inside for Honda. Mercedes are ready there to try and take advantage. Subaru are going to get it hung out to dry, but the track will come back to them. Are they going to be able to hold on to 7th place? Oh, they're onto the grass. They just about managed to keep it facing in the right direction. Great recovery there from Angel Stroza, because that could have been quite messy, but a very busy couple of corners.
These guys are going hard. I mean, it's early doors yet, and everyone's acting like it's the last couple of laps of the race, but really, really aggressive so far. So far, Guy Barber's done a great job in this Merc AMG. He's up 3 places. I mean, we saw him earlier on in the Toyota GT Racing Cup. He was very good at sliding through the field early doors. I've got to say, it's been a bit of a... He's been good today, but that's not going to make him very popular. Running into the back of the Honda in front. A little word maybe uttered under the breath of Guy Barbara there as we go up now towards Blanchimont very fast. He's got the draft on Honda and Navatani, but what an awful start for Team Honda, down 5 places, maybe even 6 here as AMD looks up the inside. Not quite enough space to do that now, I don't think.
Yeah, up the inside through to Blanchimont, you need to be having a willing dancing partner, or you need to be comfortable having your Christmas dinner through a straw. Going in towards the bus stop chicane we go. Is Guy Barbara going to have a lunch to the inside? Thinks better of it, and he's got to keep an eye on behind him. Whoa! A door open very late there between Honda and Mercedes. Mercedes now on the outside. Chevy are going to join the party. 2 for the price of 1. As Honda get muscled out down as well. 3 abreast down the top finish straight. So Subaru in the mix there as well. Honda shuffled down to 10th. On the inside is Subaru. On the outside there, you've got Mercedes as well as Ferrari. Again, still 3 abreast on the exit of La Source. Ferrari shuffled out onto the curb, onto the outside. It is kicking off dramatically here, and I wonder whether the teams, the drivers, are just thinking about the fact the rain's coming in and they've got to try and make up as much progress as they can because of the strategy changes that are going to be involved in this race.
And Gotto there for Chevrolet just went, oh, thanks, I'll take those. And just took like 3 places there and all that melee. So, yeah, crazy in the midfield right now. Everyone desperately vying for position, but of course you don't want to be fighting too much in these early stages because otherwise you might lose ground to the leaders. And again, there's some contact in the background. Ferrari, I think, coming to blows with Team Honda. Nabatani has had an awful first stint, down 8 places. What is wrong with Nabatani?
You're making it sound like top of the pops here, Jimmy. Down 8 places,
down
up
8
2 places.
I know it's gone, he's out there, but that team is our biggest loser so far.
Yeah, it's not been good, has it, at all for Nabatani? And the problem is that then means it's going to be an uphill struggle from that point on for his teammates, Matteo Estevez and Valerio Gallo. They're going to have a lot of work to do, and of course we know the weather is going to be closing in before long.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to get very tricky, very, very quickly. But that's a great part about these GT live events. Is don't make it easy for our drivers. We know they're some of the best Gran Turismo drivers in the world. Look at that clown! My God, you just see that. I mean, yep, it's over, boys. It's coming.
You've got to cue the Jaws music, haven't you? Because you know it's an inevitability. And the thing is, as well, I suppose some of the teams are thinking about and would have had to have the difficult discussions of who's quicker when it gets wet, because you know some drivers are quicker in the dry, some are tricky in mixed conditions. Let's have a look here at Toyota. This is in front with Honda and Genesis. Yeah. Oh, look at that! Toyota just the seas parting for them.
Beautiful. That's how you do it. That's how you get those places made. But that's part of being a driver here, is you have to be able to see those moves happening. You have to be able to understand that these things unfolded in front of you and how to react to them. But to go back to your point, Tom, about the drivers having that conversation, I mean, part of being a team player here is knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and being honest with your team, because you can't perform at your best if you aren't all performing well and playing to your strengths. There is whoever. Oh, look at that! Yeah, here it comes.
And you can see it's going to be coming in a fairly heavy intensity as well, because it's going sort of what's that? South. I've never reached shredded. Wait, hang on a minute.
Northeast.
Yeah, northeast. There you go.
God, mate.
I know. Geography was never my strong point. Yeah, can you tell? Anyway, it's coming in northeast, and you can see it's coming in a fair old intensity as well, and it's going to hit where's at the bottom of the circuit first, so sort of Lake Coombe area and down through the Stavolo corners. That's where the rain's going to start to hit, but depends on the sort of intensity. You can see if the checkered flag fell now here on lap 5, that's what the points rankings would look like, but there's a lot of time for things to change, and that of course depends on the fact if Lexus finish in second. If they get dropped down to 3rd place, well, it could be BMW that take this crown.
Yeah, I mean, all can change. We've still got a very long way to go in this race. Honda there holding on for dear life, whereas Ferrari and Subaru, team radio here. It's Team Subaru. Team Subaru there saying one more lap. Then what? On to another set of mediums, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's no sign of the rains here yet, as we saw from the weather radar, so that's the only logical option. You can't go out on intermediate tyres on a bone-dry track, can you? Otherwise that would be, well, it would be daft, wouldn't it, really, if you think about it. We'll wait and see what's going to happen, though, with that weather and how quickly it's going to come in.
I feel like you'd wait, though, you know, if you could see that, because they've all got access to the same weather radar we do, would you not wait?
Well, that would be the logical thing, unless they're trying to throw a dummy and play a bluff. Let's have a listen. That'll be Genesis then in 5th place, saying they're catching BMW. So behind the wheel of that is Dean Helt, who we saw has been getting his elbows out in the opening stages of this race.
But you can see that they're looking at the big picture. You know, they're only in 5th right now, but they're not looking at 5th. They're looking at BMW, going, right, they're the leaders. We are catching them, which means that we're going to be, you know, we're some of the quickest on the circuit. Let's just keep that up. Let's just keep moving forward. As we watch Team Lexus there go into the bus stop again, followed by Porsche, Toyota, Genesis. That rain getting ever closer as we get further into this race. And again, the teams all have this information. So the guys will be back on there, I say the pit wall, in the lovely seats of our Theatre Amsterdam at the front row there, just giving that advice to their teammates. And Porsche, where's that come from?
Penalty for colliding with another car. Is that an incident that we haven't seen on screen? Because they're not particularly close to anybody this moment, unless they had it coming together with Lexus that we didn't see about. It could have been for earlier on in the race. Now Subaru and Mazda in the box at the end of lap 6, but we know that weather's coming in now. Which way they're going to play it and who are they going to change over driver-wise to as well. So onto the wet tyres, Subaru, on a track where it's not even raining at the moment. So they're trying to get ahead of the curve, essentially. Inestrosa out of the car. Into the car goes Kylian Drummond. Heck out of Mazda. Jura in the Mazda. They've gone for a differentiation in strategy here. Mazda going onto the intermediate tyres. Subaru going onto the extreme wet tyres. The rain not even arrived at this point. That is a bold call at this stage. Oh, it has arrived. Look at the wipers on.
There is some rain, but I just think, especially for Subaru, it's far too early for the wet tyres. Surely, I've been saying that. Look how the rain is now coming out of the X corners to go down towards Buon. Suzuki there, you can hear the rain just coming down the roof of the car there. That seems any really deviation in mind. Still giving it, the full beans at the moment, but it is going to get to the point soon when the track grip does start to reduce. And of course, with slick tyres, once you lose the heat, it's over, basically. So what you're trying to do now is just keep pushing, keep the heat in the tyres. I'm sure we'll see him box in at the end of his lap, but I just think going for the wets and the intermediates, you've just lost about a lap of dry pace from that, which is not the way.
Well, let's see how this plays out. Mazda got the better of Subaru on the intermediate tyres. The rain is at its heaviest at this point on the circuit. In terms of the weather radar, we can see from our commentary box, it is going to be absolutely tipping down over the course of the whole track. Very, very dark clouds, and you can look at that. So anyone who's on the slick tyres, they now have to come in. Look at how quickly the complexion of this race has changed as the rain has come down very, very suddenly, and those who are on the slick tyres are going to have to come into the box. But are those who pitted early, Mazda and Subaru, going to be able to take benefit of that early stop? I don't think they are, because the pace, though it's going to be a bit slower, I don't think it's extremely slow. It's not like they're tiptoeing around, is it?
No, I mean, they seem to be at a decent pace coming in. But now's the real question. Do you go for intermediates or do you go for a full wet tyre? I mean, the idea is you try and skip the intermediates if you can, just to make, if you are going from one extreme to the other. Let's see. All our drivers coming now, every team in. Unsurprisingly, as the rain comes down, you can see now the trails in the pit lane. Waiting for our first cars coming in. Here is Team BMW, our leaders. Now, what do? This is crucial for their race. They go on to the wet compound tyre. Full wet there for BMW and Lexus. Do Porsche and Toyota follow suit? They don't. The Bouteille in for Team BMW. We spoke to Super GT Steve Brown earlier. He said that Bouteille one of the fastest drivers in that BMW. Now, here are Team Mazda, Team Subaru. They opted to pit earlier, but they're miles away. Absolutely miles away.
It was a bold gamble. I didn't think it was going to be one that particularly paid off. I'll tell you what is interesting is you've got a right mixture of tyres here at the moment. Some have gone on to intermediate, some have gone on to wet, and the problem is that it's moving quite quickly, this weather at the moment. It's sort of going from a light blue on our weather radar to a dark blue to a light blue again very quickly, and dark blue means it's heavy rain, light blue means it's light rain. So this is going to be hugely interesting. Of course, different drivers now in the car for the most part as well. So Labouteille's behind the wheel of the BMW. Lopez now in for Lexus. Mosso in for Team Porsche as well. Serrano in for Toyota. Yuta Sasaki in for Genesis inside the top 5 as it stands for now. The top 2 on the wet tyres. Likewise, Genesis and Chevrolet. Porsche and Toyota sticking with the intermediate tyres then at this stage in the race. And only time is going to tell if this is going to be a gamble that will pay off. We'll have to look at the sector and the lap times.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated, of course. We'll have a little while before we know which is quickest. Coque Lopez now in the car for Team Lexus. Man, this guy, what a veteran of Gran Turismo. He's won pretty much everything. So he knows how to win a race here at Spa in the Group 3 cars. And we'll be keeping an eye on some of the crossover times. Let's have a look. So we think that at this point, the best tyre to be on, if you're doing 2-minute 30 lap time plus, it's a heavy wet. Intermediate, it's about a 224 to 230, and after the racing mediums, anything under a 224, you should be on that slick compound tyre. They're definitely slower than that right now. We're on board with Team Toyota, and the rain already seems to have sort of let up a little bit. It's not quite as dark as it was before, but still coming down through this second sector. Now we go, tough spot here. Team Porsche taking that wet line, getting off that rubber, and then onto the curb on exit. Wouldn't want to usually be there, but seems to be a little bit of grip out there. Jose Serrano, Team Toyota, going up the hill. And looks like Lexus, Coque Lopez, is bringing that gap down to BMW in front. Closing up like a freight train on Porsche and lunging to the inside. Down at the bus stop, side by side they go. Porsche are going to give this one up too easy, and Toyota have to set up for second. Can they get the switch back?
On the exit of the corner, coming out of the final turn we go then for Porsche, and they do manage to hold on to third place for now, but Toyota having a look on the inside, maybe into the source, but Porsche parking it on the apex and holding firm for the time being. Now, a look at the lap times. Wet tyres for BMW and for Lexus, 2:36.3, 2:30.